welcome back to Tame Your Muse. This is Jill here, and I'm here to tell you about the thing that's inspiring me right now. It's a tree. It's blossoms on a tree of a Japanese magnolia. If you've never seen one before, in this part of the world, it's usually the very first thing that blooms, and it usually blooms while it's still winter. So usually around the end of January, before Mardi Gras even starts, the tree explodes in this crazy magenta madness. This year was a little bit later than normal. Call it weather, call it climate change, I don't know. We had hardly any rain this past summer. We had extremely high record temperatures, and then we did have 2 days of a freeze this winter. So it's been rough for the trees out there, but the trees that are established and old and mature, they didn't care. They are blooming like a riot. My poor sweet little tree that's been in my yard for 2 years didn't fare as well. It's still chugging along, but it has one beautiful, gorgeous blossom on it. And you know what? That's just fine with me. Anyhow, I'm taking inspiration from these trees today, and I'm going to mix up some colors that look like a crazy magenta riot, and we're going to see what we can create on the gel plate. Join me, won't you? So I have some petals here from the Japanese Magnolia. They look a little beat up from being in my pocket, but they're fine, and I'm using these specifically for some color inspiration. So I have medium magenta, I have whatever this craft paint is, royal fuchsia, I have a very soft pink, light pink, because some parts of the petals are very light. I also threw in a deep violet. We might throw some of that in there just to make the color slightly more purple and less pink. Of course, I have fluorescent magenta because, you know, the colors in my world are just a little brighter. I have some titanium white, and I did throw in some gray, a kind of a light gray, and this really cool iridescent stainless steel that I just came upon. Because the bark of the tree is actually kind of grayish, and so I thought maybe we would emulate a little of that. All right, so I'm just going to start today by making some backgrounds. So I think I'm going to just jump right in with whatever this magenta looks like, and we'll test it out. And I noticed in some of my recent prints, there wasn't a lot of contrast. Ooh, this baby might need to be shaken up a little bit. This is a golden, just a fluid acrylic, which is good sometimes, but might be too, oh, that looks better. Yeah, it just needs a little shaky shake. All right, let's roll it out and see what happens with that. I might, ooh, yeah. Whoa, that looks really cool. It's way too much paint on my plate, which is sort of fun because, you know, you can wipe some of this stuff off, but I also like kind of a weird soup that's happening here. Oh, I forgot my rolling off sheet, so I'm going to reach under here in the secret world, underneath my desk, and here we go. Rolling that off. I think since we're just doing backgrounds and it doesn't really matter, I am going to grab a quick soft print of that, and then we'll do a second one since it was so much paint. And here we go. Ooh, all right. Let's try. You know what? I may actually roller that some more now that I got some of that soupy paint off of there. Which is why I love printmaking, because, you know, there are times when you can't replicate the thing you just made in any sort of way. And that's like magic, honestly. Can't make that again. Alright, so I'm looking at the initial print, and I have to say, lots of times I don't like it when things don't mix very well, but this is kind of really reminding me of how the color is on these petals. So we're going to let that dry. We're going to pull this up. Beautiful. Left it there for just a few seconds to pull up all that paint. So my plate is clean again, and now we have another one that's not honestly nearly as fun as the first one, but it's going to get something else put on it, so don't you worry. Let's try some of this liquidy magenta, this royal fuchsia, and some more of this white. Let me give her a good shake once again. Maybe a little bit less paint this time. Trying to move some of that royal fuchsia down. Both of these are very liquidy, fluid paints, so they're rolling nicely on the plate. And I should let you know, it is a balmy, probably 68 degrees outside. It has not rained in a few days. I live in a very humid environment, and that often affects the paint on the plate. So I like to take note of that, because sometimes it works in my favor and sometimes it doesn't. And if you ever have a bad day in the studio, sometimes you have to know, maybe it wasn't a good weather day. All right, let's pull that one up. Another beautiful, it's looking, this one is a different, let's just take a look at the difference in color, because this looks like Pepto-Bismol to me, and this looks much more like what I'm going for. So I'm going to say thank you very much to Anita over here and her lovely royal fuchsia, but I think that's for another project, another day, and we're not going to use that one again. I definitely want to try some fluorescent magenta, maybe with this other magenta. Let's see what happens there. I am going to start to add just a little bit of texture to these backgrounds so they're not so boring. Also, pardon me while I step away to get my pliers, because the dentist doesn't like it when you use your teeth to open these golden acrylic tubes. They get stuck on there, and so then I just use pliers. Handy dandy pliers. And that solves that problem. Ooh, this is honestly one of my favorite colors that I own. It just gives that beautiful little punch to so many things. So we'll roll that around. Wow. And see if we can mix up something lovely over here. Brilliant. I think I would like to use this burlap and just kind of pat it on there a little bit to give it a little bit of an interesting texture. Not too much, but again, something going on in there. And we'll pull that baby up and see what she looks like. Now, I'm pretty sure there was still paint left on the plate from that last Pepto-Bismol looking one. And we want to pull all of that up as well. So we'll leave this sitting there for a second and see what happens while I plan my next plan of attack. Oh, there we go. All right. Wow. Wow. Look at that color. I mean, clearly it's not exact as my tree, but in my mind, that's the color it is in the world. So we're going to continue on with some more prints. I love that that goop is still on there. So let's try maybe some of this baby pink. It's a baby pink. And actually, you know what? Let's just go all baby pink on top of that and see if that makes something lovely. So I always like to start out making backgrounds because nothing is sadder than making a beautiful print that has a boring white paper showing underneath of it. I did like that texture. That was just a little bit of funkiness, so let's do that again. And we'll grab a paper. Of course, I have my handy baby wipe here because I make a mess. And you might have seen me before. I often do wipe it on my clothing because usually I'm wearing clothing that allows for a little paint to get on it. All right, we're gonna let this one sit for a little bit before I pull it off. Now, gel printing, I don't know if it's science, I don't know if it's magic, I don't know if it's love or patience or what makes the best print, but I find sometimes leaving it on the plate for a longer period of time helps it pull up all the paint that's on there. So we'll leave it for a second. All right then, I'm gonna peek up under the edge. I don't know how long that was, 30 seconds maybe. So it's not pulling all of that off, and I probably could leave it a little bit longer, but I'm not going to because I actually like the way that it's looking, and I do also like when all this scrungy stuff ends up on the next print. There's another beautiful background, not quite as alarming as that one, but of course we're going to print on top of all of these, so it won't really matter. I'm going to keep going with some backgrounds, and I will meet you back here when I'm ready to put something on the top of them. All right, I think I want to do probably 2 more, and I want to show this part because I love the way there's holes in here and some paint still on. So what I'm going to do is wait for a few minutes for that paint that's on there to dry. Whenever you have paint on the jelly plate and you let it dry, you can pick it up by putting another layer of wet paint on top. Some people also use like a gel medium so that it's clear. If you wanted it to look just like that, you could put a clear coat of gel medium over top and pull it up that way. But I'm thinking about, I don't know, maybe some deep violet, maybe some more fluorescent magenta. I don't know. Maybe I'll be more subtle and just go with, oh, I know what I haven't used yet. Dun, 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 dun. Iridescent stainless steel. This was actually a gift, an unexpected gift from an unexpected place. So I've never actually tried this one myself. I am using the pliers and not my teeth to open it. And we're still waiting for that to dry just a little bit. If we want all of that to pull off the plate, then it needs to be much more dry. Anything that is still wet will likely stay on the plate when we pull it up, which is not a terrible thing because while we're waiting, let's just look at this one where there was a lot of paint still stuck to the plate that came up, and that's beautiful. Sometimes those little crusty bits turn out to be beautiful. So we're just waiting. Ooh. All right, I think I'm going for it. Well, let's see what iridescent stainless steel looks like. I mean, maybe a lot like my table. We'll find out. We will find out. Hopefully it's still good and not dried up, because, ooh, it feels very dried up right there. Oh no, maybe it won't work. All right, my loves, I'm going to investigate that another day. In the meantime, don't panic. I think it might be dried out. I don't know how old some of this paint is that was gifted to me. I'm going to go grab my silver paint, because I do have a silver. Hold tight. Don't panic. Silver, here you are. Oh, we do. This silver. I was going for a golden heavy body silver, but you know what? We'll go with this one because it's much more economical. And so, well, let's try it out. And actually, if you want to know the truth of it, I've never used this one either. This is Artesia. I love these metallic colors. They have, oh gosh, probably 24 metallic colors available, which I would have them all, but not yet. We're going to go for some silver. Blop, blop, blop. And let's see if we can pull that up off the plate and see what it looks like. Ready? I'm ready. Not quite as cool as stainless steel, I'm guessing, but you know what? It's pretty cool. Rolling that on top. All right. Going to just grab it like that without messing with it at all. And I'm going to let it sit on the plate for just a little bit to make sure we pull up all that beautifulness that was left there. But again, if we don't get it all, that's fine too, because, you know, crusty bits left behind can be super beautiful. All right. Do 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 do. We need a, I don't know, let's chat. What are you working on? I would love to know what you're working on, or what inspires you in your neighborhood. You know, I'm very, very, very blessed where I live that we have some fantastic vegetation. I mean, look at that. Wouldn't you want a tree like that in your yard? I would absolutely love mine, and I really hope that it gets some more blossoms on it. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? We're going to pull it up. We're just going to go for it. Ooh, it looks pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. All right then. Well, wow, I guess there was more paint on the plate than I thought, because that doesn't look very metallic at all. But you know what? It's still beautiful, and we're gonna go for it. I think let's try some more of this. Where is it? Silver. I know, you really wanted the silver, didn't you? We still have some crusty bits on there we can pick up. And then, yeah, let's just go for silver. Why the heck wouldn't we? Silver. Boop. All right. I may actually need to make a few more prints, because you can't just have one silver in a series of whatever this is that I'm creating. Although we can put silver on top of the ones we've made. Maybe this is it. That's a very thin layer of silver. And we're going to, let's just burlap a little off of there. I do love a good burlap blob. And then I was enjoying this very much with these little boop, boop, boop. I don't know what they are. What are they? Who knows? So here they are. I think they're still painting my brush that's actually putting those on there. So we're just going to keep going. Don't forget the edges, because edges love pretty things too. Boo. All right, I'm done. Let's do this. Let's see what we get. Okay, and I'm going to leave this on there for a little bit of time because I really want to pull off all the paint that's on the plate. Wouldn't that be a fantastic way to end this? And if we don't, that's fine too, because you just never know what will happen. And that's half the fun, my friends. Half the fun. All right, I'm going to leave it alone and we'll let it sit there, and we will think about what we want to put on top of these lovely backgrounds. Definitely some black for some contrast, maybe some darker purple. And actually, if this is the last one, let me go ahead and tighten these up. Maybe a darker purple, maybe a darker gray. Maybe we do have a darker silver. I have a terrible habit of leaving these all loose so that they're open and I can just grab them. So let's make sure they're done and closed and good to go when we clean up. All right, I think that's that. I do want to inspect this stainless steel. What a letdown. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It was free. It was a gift. We'll take it. Are you ready? Dun, 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 dun. This is the beauty of letting it sit on the plate for a little bit of time. I have to say, the silver is very, very subtle, and I sort of like that about it. Ooh, look at that. That's probably my favorite one so far. So there you have it, folks. I've done some background prints, and then I'll meet you back here soon, and we'll put something on top of these and see what we can create. All right, so my backgrounds are all dry, and I think they came out pretty nice. I think they look a little beautiful just on their own. I'm loving the mark that I got with just this little craft brush. Some more beautiful, beautiful backgrounds that we can use. And right now, we're going to take some darker colors and make some marks to print on top of these beautiful backgrounds. So what I've figured out is it's a really good idea to have a bit of a contrast. So I have my original colors of fluorescent magenta, medium magenta, and this darker deep violet that I can mix with some space gray and some regular black, and see if we can come up with some cool colors to put on top of here. Now, what we want to do is create something that doesn't cover up so much of that background. And one of the things I really, really love to use is natural things from outside. So it's February here in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we had a frost this year, so a lot of things are dead in the yard, but this is part of a tree that's coming back that I have different sizes. Here's some lovely clover that are going to get dug under once it's time to plant. And then one of my favorite things to use is twine, and it can be in any configuration on the plate, but I found that it sort of looks like tree branches, so I thought I would throw some of that in there. And then of course I have some of these petals from the tree that are sadly wilting away, but you know, we can try those too, and maybe a few other things I'll make some marks with. So let me get set up and we'll see what we can put on top of these glorious prints to make them even better. All right, so I got the gel plate out, and I'm just gonna get started right away with this purple. And I'm going to add some black. So we have a nice purpley black, I hope. Let's see what happens. All right. Now, the thing is, what I really want, I'm going to put the stem side down. What I really want is the ghost print on top of my beautiful backgrounds. So we're going to use a plain sheet of paper. Oh, let's just go crazy, shouldn't we? Of course we should. There we are. Plain sheet of paper coming on top of this. That's going to make the impression of those things. Oh, that's not the paper that I wanted. Here we are. These are coming up. Here we go. Plain paper on top. And I'm just going to push this down so that the impression of all of those beauties gets into that paint. Now I'm going to make mention while we're here that it's probably 70 degrees outside. It's just a regular sort of humidity type day in New Orleans. Hasn't rained for a while, no fog this morning. This is always important in my studio because sometimes the paint dries way too fast and that's just sad. So I'm going to pull this up and it's going to be a beautiful print all on its own. Look at that gorgeous color. Oh my goodness. I'm going to set that aside and we're going to pull off these bits that we just printed. And then we're going to lay one of our beautiful backgrounds down on there. And hopefully we get it all up in time before it dries. Here we go. Ready? This is the ghost print and this is what I want on my background. So I'm going to rub it and let it sit there for a little bit to see if it can pull up all of that gorgeous paint that was left behind. And let's just see what we get here. Are we ready? Here we go. Ooh, that's kind of gorgeous. I love it. All right, setting that aside. Now we have actually another beautiful image right there, and I think let's let that dry and we can put I think Space Sage Gray is too dark. Maybe should we put this? Should we put fluorescent magenta on there? We're going to let that dry. We're going to pick all that up with another beautiful color. I wonder, shall we go loud? Shall we go soft? Loud or soft, loud or soft. Maybe we'll do a combination. We're going to let that dry. It may already be dry, but we want to make sure it's all the way dry because then we can pick all of that beautiful image right up off the plate. And that's the magic of gel printing. So we're letting it dry. We're letting it dry. While it's drying, let's think about, what else we might want to do. While it's drying, let's just take a look at this one because something magical happened. I think I'm going to try these on here because this almost mimics that exact shape of the petal of the flower. So maybe we'll try something with that next. All right, I can't wait anymore. Can you wait anymore? Let's do this. Let's first make sure fluorescent magenta is open, and we'll open it with the pliers and not our teeth because, you know, teeth are important. All right, let's go a little dabbity doobie. Boop. Boop. And then we'll do a little of this over here. Let's shake it down. Shake it down, shake it down. Come on out, baby, come on. Boop. That was more than I really wanted. Let's do another boop right here. Oh, Lola's come to explore, so. All right, we're gonna roll that around. And then we're going to pick it up on a brand new sheet of paper. Oh, wow, look at that color. Oh, I get so excited when I love a color. This fluorescent magenta is just fabulous. All right, what do we think of that? Let's get it off of there quick before that dries because that's not at all what we want. Why my paper is not cooperating. Here we go. Ready? And go. All right. Giving it a nice rub. Rub down, rub a dub. We want to make sure we pick up all that paint on the plate. And this one I am going to let sit for maybe a minute, because I want to make sure we get everything on the plate up on this paper. All right, I can't wait any longer. Let's pull this thing up and see what we got. When it comes out clean like that, you know you left it the right amount of time. It's pulling everything off the plate that was there. And it may be a little too loud, but you know what? That's okay. Look at that. That's beautiful. So we got 3 really great prints from that one situation there. Those are both gorgeous. This one, if you can guess, I'm going to put some interference color on top of that dark and see if we can make something really cool. All right, well, let's let that dry. And what will we try next? I did really love that dark purple color, so maybe we should just go with that again. Let's try it. Yes, let's just do it. A little purple, a little bit of black. And you know what, I know I said I was going to do the petal next, but I don't think I will just yet because this is dark and I want to put it on a lighter background. And that one with the petal looking splotch is a little darker, so we'll see. All right, next up, let's try this big thing. And how about a clover? Clover, clover. this clover on the edge and just throwing in some twine. Give me a little piece and another little piece. And again, it's kind of perfect situation in the studio for the paint not to dry too fast, although I shouldn't jinx it. This is a plain sheet of paper I am putting over top while we push down all these beautiful things to get that imprint. Going around, making sure I get in between everywhere. And we'll see if this print is just as beautiful as that last one we did. All right, pulling it off. So this is why I do a background, because that is a huge amount of white space that doesn't make me happy. So that could have actually gone on one of our backgrounds, but that's okay. We're pulling all of this off. We're going to grab that ghost print on top of, well, let's just do this one because it's right there. Oh, my registration isn't that good anymore because that plate pulled out, but that's okay. We'll see if we can straighten it out in a minute. Right now, we're leaving this down for a minute so it can soak up all that beautiful paint that's under there. I'm so impatient. I have a very hard time leaving things for a very long time. Let's pull it up and see what we have. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. All right, moving along. We're going to, what should we do with that? Maybe we should let that dry and pull it up with, oh, Lola wants to chime in with her answer here. You know what? I put away the silver because it was so light, but I'm go grab it. I think silver might pull that out beautifully. Let me grab it. There she is. What do you think of silver, Lola? You think it's good? Let's try it. All right. Before I put the silver on, this thing lifted up a minute ago, and I want to just straighten it out so I can line up my paper better. All right, I think that's dry enough. This is just plain silver. And we'll roll a little bit of that around and see if we can pick up this beautiful image that got left behind. Here we go. Again, I want to leave this one to sit for a minute so that it picks up all the paint that's left on the gel plate. Letting that sit. All right, I can't wait any longer. Let's see how this is doing under there. Did it cook long enough? I think it did. Pulling it off of the plate, and would you look at that? I'm so glad I used the silver on there. I like how it's so light and subtle and you just get the outline of those things. Beautiful. All right, what will we do next? Silver's making me want to just dig into this pearl space gray, so I think we shall do that. Do I want to mix it with something? Do I? Maybe I do. Pearl Space Gray with a bit of medium magenta. Let's just see if it gives it a funky. Ooh, when I say a little bit, that was not a little bit by any means. So we need to scoop that up off, a bit of that off of there. You know, we'll just set it over here for now. There we go. Sorry, don't want to waste. All right, let's try this. Get some of this weird pearl space gray and magenta concoction going. See what it looks like. It looks kind of murky. I like it. All right. Let's do these petals and see what happens. And I think I want them all to go in the same direction as that thing over there. Let's put some this way. This might be the only one of these we get because these poor little things are dying. What do you think? Shall we put... Oh gosh, yes, we shall. Let's put some twine over top. Maybe not quite like that. Sometimes it's good to be sloppy, and sometimes it's better to be intentional. So, you know, we'll do a little of both. I think instead of using a plain paper this time, I'm going to use a lighter one, like this one, to press that in to get the impression. Making sure to press all the way around this twine I have on there. All right. You don't want to leave it too long. We're going to pull that up. Well, all right. Kind of interesting. Better than a white background for sure. Now let's quickly pull all of this off of here gently and see if this might make something beautiful on top of this one. How shall we do it? This way? Yes, just do it. All right, pressing it down. You want to leave it on there for a good bit of time so it can soak up all that beautiful paint that's on there. For the waiting game. While we wait, let's investigate. Can we use these again? Maybe. Maybe not. We could maybe flip them over on their other side. I don't know. Are we ready? Let's lift this up. Okay. Well then. Well, what do we think? Kind of interesting, kind of shimmery, kind of, I don't know. Let's set that aside and think about what we'll do next. Now, there is still some ghost of a print on there, but we're just going to let it be. I think the decision's been made for us to use this and get it back on there so we don't waste, because wasting is not cool, right? Wasting is not cool. Let's put some, did we like that color? I guess we sort of did. Let's try some more space gray. We'll have less metallic and more pink this time, it seems like. Boop. Get on there. You know, I'm just using my finger. Sorry, not sorry. I can do what I want, and then I don't have a baby wipe, so there it goes right on my pants. Right on my pants. You know, nobody cares but me, so. Is that a hair in there? That was a hair. Bonus texture. Don't know whose hair it was. Oh, it might have been from the twine. It was a twine hair. All right. Let's go for, let's just do all clovers. That is almost St. Patrick's Day anyway, so if we had a little lucky 3-leaf clover, that wouldn't be terrible. Lucky 3-leaf clover. Another lucky 3-leaf clover. I do like odd numbers and threes in my work there. And then I think, what else do I even have over here? I am liking the twine, and I just stuck my big fat head in there. You know what I have? These are like weird wooden Christmas tree ornament thingies, and I really like them because they leave a very nice wood looking thing, and they take away circles, and everybody likes a good circle, right? Let's go for, oh gosh, up there, down here. All right, we're just making it up as we go along over here. That thing I think I want to have maybe on here. Let's do it on here. And this was a very loud one that could use some softening up, I think. So we're just pressing those clovers down in there. And we're going to lift it right up. Well, that's kind of fun. And pulling these off. And it feels like, to me, that the rest of this is very dry. So let's let those clovers dry, and we'll pick that up with, what should we pick it up with? Maybe some more of that lovely silver. All right. While we're waiting for that to dry, before we pick it up with the lovely silver, let's maybe plan our next plan of attack. I think I can go back for some leaves and twine. Leaves and twine. Maybe I should do one that's all twine. Let's do all twine. That could be fun. That could be really fun. All right. Are we dry yet? Nope. I'm looking and it's not quite dry. Not quite dry. Well, it's definitely dry now. And in the meantime, I'm going to apologize because Lola has found some cats outside and she's been barking at them. So if you hear her, she doesn't like the cats in her yard. Terribly sorry. I'm gonna pick this up with some silver just like we did before and see if we can recreate that magic. Some silver. All right. There's a hair in there. You know what we call that around here? We call it bonus texture. So now I need to grab a piece of paper, a plain sheet of paper, and we're going to lay it on there and let it sit for what seems like a very long time because we want to make sure that all of that beautiful paint gets stuck to this paper. So we're just rubbing it across here, making sure we've got a good connection with the paper, and we'll let it sit. And while it sits, I have, what do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more that I want to do. I think I want to go back and do more black with the purple because I really liked that deep violet it's officially called. And see what other kind of marks we can make. Getting impatient, but it's there and it's worth leaving. We've seen it. We've seen the evidence. It's worth leaving there for a good long time. So, all right. I can't wait any longer. Can you? Here it comes. Wow, that looks really beautiful. I really dig that silver. Oh, and there's the hair from the twine. We got it. All right, setting that one aside, let's go for this deep violet and black again, because that was a sweet color. A little black, a little black, and I think on this one, what if we try some twine and that weird stenciling craft brush again? Do I see that it's not mixed up very well in there? Yes, I do. Sometimes I like it not mixed, sometimes I do. Right now, I wanted it a little bit more mixed up, so I'm going to go with twine. Let's pretend I'm being more intentional with this time. How about that? And that. And that. No, you can't be by that guy. Okay, and then here's my craft brush. Now I never washed this, and so it's hard and crusty. So let's see what that does. Ooh, I like that. In between there, taking off some paint. Boop, boop, boop. Sound effects are always fun. All right, and then I do have, it's made over here that's never been used, so see what that one does. A little bit of a texture situation going on. Boop, boop, boop. Am I done yet? I'm done. All right. I'm going to put a light one over top of that to press this beautiful thing down. Then we'll pull that twine right off. Interesting. And we'll put it on something else. Let's put it on this one. All right. And I'm going to leave it down there for a little bit because I want it to try to pull all of that paint off the plate. That is the goal here. So I have to say, while we're waiting, it took me a very long time to figure out how long to leave it on the plate. And when I first started gel printing, I would pull them off right away because of course you get excited and you want to see what's under there. So you kind of have to just experiment a little bit and figure out what you want. When the paint is gooey and there's a lot of paint on the plate, you can pull it off more quickly. When there's a very thin layer like what we're trying to pick up now, you want to leave it on longer. And if you let the paint dry on the plate and pull it off with a wet paint, you need to let it sit for quite some time. Quite some time. How long is that? I don't know. All right, here we go. Looks pretty good. Got most of the paint off the plate, and look at that. That's kind of fun. That might be my favorite one. Wow. Well, all right, let's keep going. Don't get stuck on that one. Let's try something else. I do like that color, but let's make it purpler. More purple, less black. I don't know. Let's try. Let's just see how much purple comes out. These tiny tubes. I don't know why anyone would put paint in a tiny tube, because the way I go through paint, it just doesn't last. There we go with our deep violet and some black. And I'm leaving the roller down and swooshing it around to try to blend that into one sort of color. And now I'm going to lift and spread it evenly. There we are. All right. Now, what are we going to do? We didn't really have a plan, did we? Let's just go in. I'm going to go back for some of these that I already used. That big one wasn't my favorite, but we can put it on an edge. You can be on an edge. Well, let's go for some of these babies we've not used yet. And let's just go crazy like we're in the forest or something. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. See, this is the type of day where I can very easily take my time because the paint's not drying that fast. I'm going to go back and make some more of these little doodads in between there because I like those little doodads. This is the one that did not already have paint on it, I think. Or maybe it is. Nope, it was the one with the paint already on. This one without the paint already on seems to take off more paint. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, here I go. This is a plain white paper we're going for here. Just to get the impression down. And what we really want with all of these plants is the ghost print, pulling it off quickly because I want that good paint to still be dry. See, I'm so glad I made those little marks. Isn't that much more interesting? Yes, yes it is, Jill. All right, we're pulling all of these off. Bum, 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 bum. And we're going to put it on this lucky thing right here because it happens to be on top. Here we go. And again, I want all of this paint, as much as it will, to soak into this paper and pull off the plate. So here's another one we're going to leave down for a little bit of time. And while we do that, maybe we should actually plan the next thing because I didn't know what I was doing just then. Sometimes it's fun to not know what you're doing, but sometimes it's good to have a plan. So, I think if I'm looking under my pile of things here, I could do some more of these poor petals from the actual tree, from the Japanese Magnolia that I love so much. So we can try those again. And then I do actually have this burlap over here from the other time when we were making backgrounds, and this could be fun too. So let's throw this in the mix and let's see if this guy's ready to come off the plate. Alright, well, there's still some left on the plate, but a lot of it came off on my paper and it's gorgeous and I love it. Alright, we're gonna let that thing dry. And I need to decide, do I care about what's on the plate or do I want to roll right over it? And I think, you know what, folks, we're just rolling right over it. Let's do sorry if you hear a motorcycle out there. I don't know whose motorcycle that is. I don't really have motorcycles on my street usually, but surprised Lola's not barking at them. Do you want to try something? Yes, you do. Should we try Pearl Space Gray mixed with the deep violet and see what that looks like? I knew you would. Let's find out. Ready? Love this violet. Love this Pearl Space Gray. Mixing it up so it's kind of a murky mix of metallic violet. All right, and now we are going to find these things again, and maybe this time, oh, should we be literal about it? We could be, couldn't we? Could we be literal and put these lovelies in the actual formation in which the flower goes? Sure, we could. Could we also go crazy and just throw them on the plate? Yes, we could. We could do that too. Because, you know, when they fall off the tree, they don't fall in formation. That's a poor sad one right there. Okay, and then what shall I do? Shall we do some twine? Let's do it. Doing some twine. I have to say that the petals don't have nearly as good of a veiny structure as these leaves do, but you know, it's not their fault. So going for it. What am I putting on there? I think I have a light one left. Yes, I do. Let's put this on here. Let's see what happens. I'm going to press this down to make the impression. And then we'll pull it off and grab its ghost print on something else. How does that look? Kind of cool, actually. I like that color. It's sort of shimmery violet. Now we're going to quick pull all of these things off of the plate. And pick that up on... Oh, there goes the paint on the floor. Let's go for this boring background right here. And again, we want this ghost print to come off on this paper as much as the paint will come up. So we're going to let it sit for a little bit. And while we do, I will pick up that paint that I just dropped. And of course, I can wait no longer for this beautiful ghost print. Let's see if it comes off. And most of it does. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. I think my favorite part are these weird little dots right here. You know, you just never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes we love it, sometimes we hate it. I think I have 2 more to do, and I have a decision. I think I like, yes. Let's do Pearl Space Gray. And this lovely deep violet. And yes, I realize there's still muckety muck on the plate, and it's the same color, and it will be fine. It will just have a slightly different texture. And put more of the space gray this time. All right, and no plan here. How about we just go, you know, I I think let's just go with what I like the most. We like these leaves like it's a crazy forest, because it's a tree anyway, isn't it? And nobody knows what the actual leaves of this Japanese magnolia look like right now, because, well, they haven't come out for spring yet. Forest. All right, let's do these fun things because we like them. Boo, boo. That was whichever one, the dried or not the dried, and this is the other one, whichever one it is. All right, good, good. And let's go for this to pick that up. And we're going to press it down in that beautiful, beautiful paint. We don't hate it. Pulling these up and super fast. Going to put this ghost print on this loud, crazy fluorescent magenta. And you guessed it, we're going to have to wait and wait and wait. So we're going to rub it nicely, make sure it's making contact with all parts of this paper. Then we're going to leave it to absorb. And actually, that's my final one, except for some magic we're about to do. So I'm going to let that sit there for a minute, and I will clean up some things and get ready for the magic. All right, I left it there a good long time. I'm peeling it up now. Let's see if we can get all that paint off the plate. Most of it we did, and wow, I think I love it. I think I love it. All right, are you ready for the magic? Because here's what happened. I ended up with 3 beautiful prints. They are beautiful, aren't they? But they have just this weird white background, which I don't love. I really don't love it. So what I would like to do is use some interference red. Now, interference paint is a very wacky, sciencey thing where it comes out white, but it has a sheen to it, like a metallic sheen. That's a color. This is interference red, and I don't know why they call it red, because it really is more purpley magenta. So we're going to use this, because when you put this over top of a dark color, it makes a beautiful metallic sheen. And when it's on a light color, it looks completely different. So you can start to see when I roll it out how it's sort of metallic-y beautiful. This is a golden color. It's a heavy body, which works just fine for me. But I think we're going to sort of try to emulate that. And what else do I want? Give me a clover. Let's pretend we're remaking that thing. And it had another clover over here. All right, boom. Let's put this thing on here. Anyhow, whatever I was saying before I started thinking about what I was putting on there, where it's white, it will show up very differently. Here we go for that. Dun, dun, dun. So we have some metallic-y, shimmery sheen. Where the dark was, we still have some white parts. Pulling this off. this ghost print is going to go on, let's put it on this one. This one's fine. Letting it sit down there so it will pick that up nicely. And while we let it sit, we can go look at that first one again. So now I still have some white parts, but I have some purpley parts and some funky metallic-y parts and still some black parts. I kind of like it. Very interesting. All right, we're gonna pull this baby up and then figure out what to do with that last one over there. All right, see how that looks much more interesting? I love the way the leaf printed on the black, the way the leaves printed on the white. All right, I think I know what I must do. Let's put a ton of this interference color on. Well, maybe not a ton. That was an exaggeration. Clearly the tube listened to me because that was a big blobber right there. All right, I'm gonna put all leaves on this, and I'm going to use a plain paper for the initial press down, and then I'll put the ghost print on my last one. Throwing that there, and this here. It's a very, very exact science over here. Leaves, all leaves, all leaves. And for funsies, let's do a clover. All right, where is my regular paper? Did I put it away already? That wasn't smart. Not smart. Don't want it to dry, but again, it's a lucky day in the studio. I tell you, warm days are coming, my friends. Warm days are coming, which means paint will dry faster. It also means in my sweet little shotgun home that I will. That's just a throwaway, and maybe we'll do something with it. In my sweet little shotgun home, I'm going to run my window air conditioning unit, which is very loud and very drying, and then every fan in the household gets turned on. I'm going to leave this on for a good bit of time to see if we can pick up all that beautiful paint. Yes, and the fans are very drying, and it's very frustrating because my papers blow around and the paint dries very fast and all of those things. But in the meantime, it's a beautiful day, the end of February, and I have no air conditioning on and no heat on and just a tiny little ceiling fan to turn it up. And I would have the front door open, but the back door is open, and it's like a vacuum. And it would suck all these beautiful papers away, but it is a gorgeous day and a perfect day in the studio for my paint drying just the rate I want. Are you ready to pick this up? I am too, but you know what? I want to let it sit for another minute because I really want all the paint that's on there, because I want this sort of loveliness to pull right up. Interesting. This one. It's just so subtle. See how that interference paint, it's kind of bleh when it's just by itself, but when it's on the dark, it has a very cool effect. All right, we're pulling it up. We're just pulling it up. This is it for the day. Pulling it up. Let's see what we got. Oh my goodness. All right. Wow. I feel like you could just frame that thing right there. I may not. I may not tear it up. I might frame it. I just might. Anyhow, let me get things cleaned up over here, and we'll take a look at what we got today. All right. Actually, before I clean up, I couldn't leave it alone. I'm staring at this thing, and I really feel like it could have something on top of it. So I think I'm about to do something on top of there, even though It was supposed to be a throwaway print. I think we want something, you know what? Let's go back for our sweet Pearl Space Gray. And we'll do some of this lovely deep violet, because we did like that combo, didn't we? I mean, why wouldn't we just do one last print? Are we ever really done? I don't know. Here we go. Pearl Space Gray and violet. And Lola is grumping at the cats. She's grumping at them. Alright, we ended up with a very thin coat, which is fine. Fine, fine. I'm going for leaves again because that thing wants leaves. Boop. 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 Again with the sound effects. This is very, very effective. Oops. Give me that. And one last one, of course, because I can't not do it. I can't not. Alright. Actually, that's going to get pushed down with this roll-off paper so we don't waste. We're just gonna do a quickie smudgy, smudgy, smudge. And pull that up. Pull these off. Dun, 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 dun. And then this sweet little thing over here can have some beauty too. Ready? Let's do it. Except, you know what it means. It means we're going to have to let it sit there for a minute. So, why don't we let it sit there while I clean up some things. I will pull it off the plate, clean the plate, and then we'll take a look at all the things we got today. Ready? All right. Here's that last print I pulled off the plate, and I don't know about you, but I'm so glad I gave it some love because look at that. It looks silver and violet and gray and black and white, and there's another one that could just easily go in a frame. And here's its sister prints with that interference red paint on the dark. Beautiful. What else did we get? Well, here's this one over here. Well, that's kind of loud and fun. Here comes another. And another. This one's not my favorite, but I do like it. And I also know it will look beautiful in a collage. That one looks a little St. Patrick's Day gone bad. Anyhow, so yeah, some of them not super interesting, but look at that baby. Look at that. Another one that could probably just go in a frame. I could frame these. Maybe I will. Who knows? Well, if you know me at all, you do know. There's a collage about to happen. Wow, look at that. So many amazing prints. Here's that silver that I picked up the ghost print with. Wow, I think I have a lot of really great prints that I can frame and tear up and make collages out of, and I don't know. You'll have to find out, I guess. You never know what I'll do. Well, there you have it. Another fun day in the studio. Some days are exceptional, some days are so-so, but I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. If you're still here, maybe you did because you haven't stopped watching yet. I do want to say that I think that some of these prints that I ended up with the interference red are magnificent, and while I could put a beautiful mat and a frame around them and probably sell them, it reminded me too much of Bed Bath & Beyond. Do you ever go there and they have like those perfectly like weird, terrible art? Yeah, no, I don't want that. So don't worry. these things are beautiful and I love them. But you know what? It's just a piece of paper. It's just paint on a piece of paper. I'm probably going to tear it up and make a collage. You'll have to join me back here to find out. But I did want to leave you with my very favorite one. And it's this crazy, crazy fluorescent magenta. I love the way the twine makes interesting shapes and the leaves underneath. And I don't know about you, but I love it. And this is definitely going in a collage. So that's it for us here today. I thank you so much for joining me. If you have any feedback, please comment below. If you're making something beautiful from something that inspires you in your world, I'd love to hear all about it. Thanks so much.